Hey y'all, it's me, Delores the pastor's daughter. And yeah, okay, like if you are looking at the title of this video, then you already know I'm on one, okay? There's my alerts, you guys. I'm on one today. My husband and I just ate dinner about an hour ago or so, and he was watching crime shows and he turned on the it was a trial about the Menendez brothers. And I was just kind of overhearing it as he was watching it, listening to it. And it just made me think about the time that I attempted to kill my father. It wasn't just me, but I'm just going to just talk about me, okay? I'm just going to talk about me. And I also ran across this meme earlier today that talked about forgiveness. Actually, it was an excerpt. It was an excerpt from a book. And I'm going to read it to you because when I read it, it resonated with me. And it was a excerpt about forgiveness. And here's what it says. Hold on one second, you guys. I'm going to it right now. Here's what it says. The author is Jeff Brown, and the book is called Heart Hearticulations. Hearticulations. Um, and it's kind of like articulations, but with the heart instead. So hearticulations. And here's what it says: I am firmly of the view that this societal fixation on forgiving others is just another way that we bypass our own rightful anger, confusion, sense of loss. It is also a way that victims end up feeling blamed for their experience. I do agree that we can't forgive one another until we self honor, and that forgiveness is welcome if it's organic. But I also believe that forgiveness may have no place in certain dynamics, and that's entirely okay. Forgiveness is not a measure of our emotional health and well being. Resolution is. That is how we come to a relatively resolved understanding of what we went through, how we come to terms with what it was in a way that brings us to a deeper understanding and peace. Resolution of process is where it's at. And there is no reason to feel guilty if forgiveness does not arise within it. It's enough to find peace in the aftermath. I'm often, approached about this concept of forgiveness. And so when I ran across this excerpt from the book Hearticulations by Jeff Brown, then I thought about, my own journey of forgiveness. And then I ran across this documentary or crime show, I guess, about the Menendez brothers and them killing their parents. And I just thought about the time that I tried to poison my father. And this was probably, I don't know, I was probably maybe um 13, 14, somewhere around there, maybe even younger. I don't know. And I just thought about like I totally could have killed my father. Like I told like y'all, listen, listen, it's not funny. Okay. I'm just laughing because I can't actually believe I'm talking about this. Okay. So that's the only reason I'm laughing right now. But not because it's funny, but because I'm actually admitting this. And I think that there are probably more people than we are willing to really acknowledge that have had these feelings of I want to kill my parent, or I could kill my parent, or I attempted to kill my parent. Or I think about it, I've had dreams about shooting my father, like 3 dreams to be exact. And so I think about, our plight, our I don't know, kind of like our disagreement and our beef that my father and I have. And you guys, my uncle passed away last night. My uncle passed away last night, and this was my, favorite, although I have to admit that I was upset with him about his stance when I left the church and when I cut my father off. And in his last years of living, I basically refused to even really talk to him. I didn't call him really. I didn't really, I kept tabs on him, because I love him, but I didn't agree with his stance. And so, I just felt the need to pretty much distance myself from him as well, just to maintain the boundaries that I had with my father. Because I knew that if I had maintained a relationship with my uncle, then that would spill over and somehow create an open door for my father to try to step in. And so, for my own safety and all of that stuff, I decided to cut my uncle off too, you know, and really not have anything more to do with him. And even in his last years on this earth, I probably reached out to him. I think it was like maybe 2 months ago, month and a half to 2 months ago, and I sent him a copy of my book. And now that he has passed, we were anticipating that he would pass. So it wasn't like a shock to us. He had cancer that ended up just really kind of eating him up. But he fought. I mean, when I tell y'all, the man fought, honey, okay? Because really he was projected to pass away years back, but he held on. And really, I believe that the reason why he lived longer is because he distanced himself from my father. There is death around my father. There is sickness around my father. And so when I think about, in fact, earlier today I heard this I don't know, I was listening to some videos, maybe a podcast or something, and a person was saying that time is the great equalizer, because, a parent who is abusive to you when you are a child will eventually turn into that child, like they weaken, their bodies weaken, they age, they need you, they start to get ill, and all of that stuff, right? So while you were a child and you were helpless and you were a victim to them, you were vulnerable to them, as time passes, you get bigger, you get older, you get stronger, right? But they get older and weaker and sicker. And so while this man was talking about how time is the great equalizer, again, I was thinking about those moments where I really thought about killing my father. Like, what is the point of him being here if he's causing so much pain and chaos and hurt to people? And there was a time that I really didn't see how else it would stop, you know, unless he was just like taken out. And then in recent years, he's of course, used the scripture that all religious narcissists use, all, pastors who are in the wrong and all of that. They say, well, touch not my anointed. And so I know I've done like several videos already where I was like, nobody touched you. So you're quoting this scripture. First of all, that doesn't even apply to you because you're not anointed. Let's just start there. You're not anointed. So, but you're quoting this scripture that really should convict you. Because what happened was you were the one who touched God's anointed. You were the one who did God's prophets harm. But somehow that whole thing got twisted. And not only did it get twisted, but it's totally taken out of context in the simple fact that nobody has touched you. But I believe that we should have was well within our rights to do it. And now I see how in my uncle's last years of being on this earth, how his kids, even his ex-wives, right? People, who really love him was there for him. And so I wonder what my father's last days will be like. Who will be by his bedside? Who will make sure that he leaves this earth in honor and dignity and, that he gets sent off respectfully? It won't be me. It won't be me. Because really, I should have took him out a long time ago. And I'm still not above it. I'm still not beyond that. So it's like while we are talking about forgiveness, I'm just like, forgiveness is the least of your worries right now. Right now, you should be worried about me not taking this man out because he is still a threat to everyone. No, he's a threat to those who loved him most. That's who he's a threat to. I also saw this other little video that talks about silence. It talks about, if you aren't saying what you need to say, then whose fault is that really? And I think about over these few years that I have been really silent about a lot of things. I mean, you guys have seen me. Of course, I have come out and said a lot of things, right? But truthfully, I have not said a lot of things. Okay? Like I really haven't. And it was in an effort to protect those that I love, specifically my mother, because she was a part of that dynamic. And it's hard for me to really address the issues with my father without attacking my mother as well. But I've grown and I'm realizing, even as I'm talking about my uncle who passed away last night, that I can honor my family and still speak truth. I'm going to honor my uncle. You guys know I'm not allowed to go to Detroit because I didn't already got threatened. I didn't already got threatened by the family. So they was like, don't come up here, you're gonna get slapped. Okay. So obviously I won't be going to the funeral. Jay Tucker, why do you always ask me if this is live? Child, yes, honey, I'm right here. I'm right here, child. Do you wanna call in? Do you wanna get up on the stream with me, child? So you can prove it. Okay. You always asking that. I know you haven't asked that at least one other time. But you the only one. You the only one that ever asked that. Is this live? Yes, honey. I'm live, honey. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking about today is that even as I honor my uncle who has passed away, I can still speak truth to the issues that was also present in his life, issues that affected everybody who loves him. And so even though I'm not allowed to go to Detroit, it's not funny, but it's funny, okay? Because ain't nobody studying them folks. Not for real. Because at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to myself and to my family, right? To the ones that, I created, my children, my husband, you know, I have an obligation to them to be my best self, to be my healthiest self. And I don't think that that is possible in anyone's life when you are so preoccupied and consumed and bound by just speaking positive things about a person, even once they have passed away. The truth about it is that people are always going to find a reason why you shouldn't speak your truth, regardless of if the person that you are speaking about is alive or dead. There's going to be people who have a problem with it. But I have to do what is best for me. And even now that we have reached like this, I guess kind of like this milestone in our family within this story and everything that is going on, I feel emboldened. I feel more empowered to really speak truth. And even though I'm going to talk about my father and I will not hold back anymore, I'm still going to honor my mother and still protect my mother. But at the end of the day, she is a grown woman and she's capable of protecting herself. So now I just need to be truthful about and more transparent, more open about my experience. And even admitting the things that I don't want to admit, that I should have killed my father, that I actually kind of made an attempt. And so while he's over here quoting this, touch not my anointed, he should be convicted by that very same scripture. That his actions, I'm convinced that they have already turned people from God, and they almost did it to me. My father had me so confused about my relationship with God and about how God loves me and who God created me to be, because God is your ultimate father. But your father is your father that you see here on earth, who is supposed to be a representative. And he was not a good representative, y'all, at all. And I just feel like my uncle has passed. My uncle has passed. And I really don't I really don't know why I would not say anything else. I really don't. Because there's so much death around my father. There's so much confusion. There's so much pain around him. You guys, do you know how many people died since we left the church? The people who were still there supporting him, several of them died. Several of them. And we were well on our way to be dead ourselves because he was making us so sick. And no one wants to really acknowledge the fact that the biggest health crisis right now is toxic relationships. That's the biggest health crisis. It's killing more people than diabetes. It's killing more people than heart disease. It's killing more people than anything else. It's a toxicity that exists within our relationships, in our families, in our communities, in our churches. It's every freaking where. It's the biggest health crisis right now. And if anybody else stays around my father, they will die too, or they will become very ill mentally, physically, spiritually. There's no healthy people around my father. You can't be healthy and be around him. It's impossible. It's impossible to be healthy and be around my father, to be around these toxic people, these narcissists, these demons these Jezebels and Leviathans and whatever the hell else you want to call them. And I think about the people who have passed. My uncle, my father's best friend passed. People who were still around him. And you know what they did? They took his secrets to the grave with them. They took all his secrets, all his shit, they took to the grave with them. That's why I was so mad at him. I was so mad at my uncle because I was like, how do you continue to just hold on to this when you are the closest one to him? You know he is terrible, but you stay and you support and you love on him and you do whatever you can, but you know that it's never gonna help. He's never gonna change. He's just gonna continue to suck the life out of you. We all deal with death, in different ways. And I've dealt with, different deaths in different ways, depending on who it is. But those people who were still around my father who have died being loyal to him, keeping his secrets, I have a hard time having compassion for them because I'm convinced that them keeping his secrets is what killed them. Yeah, like they say cancer, but how symbolic is that? My father is the cancer. It's my father that is the cancer. Like, and his best friend died this not the same way, but from cancer too. And I'm the only one, at least from what I can see, who's connecting the freaking dots. Who can see who's discerning that my father is the cancer and he's the one who's killing everybody around him because guess what? That's what Satan comes to do. To steal, kill, and destroy. But he may not kill you right away. Maybe he's stealing from you. He's stealing life from you year after year, decade after decade, until you are eaten up by the very cancer that you are trying to help and support and love. Toxic relationships, y'all, is our health crisis. It is. Because even if it wasn't a toxic relationship that made you sick initially, it's going to damn near keep you sick. It sure will. Oh, it's going to keep you sick. Oh, it's going to worsen the sicknesses that you already have. Oh, it's going to worsen it. Toxic relationships, if we can figure that out, if we can get out of it, expose it, then I believe we'll be better off. We'll be healthier. I mean, look at me, y'all. Look at me. You guys know I have fibromyalgia. I have lupus. I have back pain. I have knee pain. I have all kind of stuff going on with me. If you have an autoimmune system disease, illness or whatever, I suggest you look around at the people who are around you because I guarantee you you are in a toxic relationship with somebody and that is why you are sick. That is why your body is attacking itself because you have let that toxicity in. And we have to realize that these people, this toxicity that we love on, we just try to love it out of them. You know what I'm saying? Let's just pray it out of them. Let's just, do all the things. Let's just be loyal. Let's just, whatever. But what we don't do is get the hell out of it. What we don't do is expose it. What we don't do is admit that we're in it. And so when I think about this, the title of this video, we should have killed you because he's killing us. Well, he's no longer killing me because I got away. Okay. I got away. But I don't believe everybody can. I don't think everybody has the mental, the intestinal fortitude, the the wherewithal to distance themselves. I think some people are so ensnared. Some people are so trauma bonded that some people are so enmeshed that they cannot get away. And then there are some who just simply don't want to. They don't want to distance themselves. They don't want to break ties. They don't want to. There's something sick in them that also is like it's feeding the toxicity that also exists in other people. Oh, trust and believe. I have realized throughout this process that there was some toxicity in me that I had to get out. I mean, clearly I've gotten it out because the man is still alive. Okay. I got all the things and the reasons and excuses too. But I don't do that. I don't use that. I've chosen to heal. I've chosen to cut off the toxicity, to divorce the toxicity from my life, to distance myself, to expose it, to admit that is what was going on. And not only that, but to work towards healing and then healing other people. Because there is a part of this process where I owe you. I owe you. I owe the people who fell for my father's foolishness because I was there. I was a praise and worship leader, y'all. You know how many people were attracted to the church just because of me, just because of my voice? I have a responsibility now to make that right. There is a spiritual debt that I even carry because I was there, because I was a party to it, because I was in support of what I thought was right. No, I didn't know that it was wrong. I didn't know that my father was doing all the things that he was doing all the time. No. In fact, the childhood stuff, I had forgiven him for, and I thought that he was well on his way to being a better person, to really trying to, you know, be a good shepherd to the church that he was over, to be a good father, to be a good husband, to be a good man, to be a good citizen, you know, to be a productive member of society. But that is not what has happened. There is an obligation that I also have to correcting or to making amends to working out that spiritual debt. Shout out to Black Women's Sphere for coming up with that concept because I like as soon as she said that I knew spiritual debt, spiritual debt. And I feel like my uncle in his last days, in his last years, I think that he was really working out that spiritual debt, that he was trying to get it right because he wasn't always right. And though he was a great uncle to me, I don't have any complaints whatsoever. He never did anything harmful to me. He was always loving, always caring, always protective. I mean, as far as uncles go, he was top notch. He was. But I would also believe if there were people who were hurt by him. I wouldn't attack them. I wouldn't disparage them. I would listen to them. I would believe them because I know the man had issues. He was on crack for decades. He did things. He did things in pursuit of that drug. He stole, he hurt people, he went to jail numerous times. He did things that weren't necessarily legal. But even that image of him that I have of being a good uncle to me, does not does not cause me to gaslight or deny someone's experience or attack them in any way. And we have to be aware that sometimes these people present as someone different to different people. Whereas my father victimized people who were the closest to him, who loved him the most, right? The children he had, his wife, the congregation. People outside of that circle didn't necessarily see that side of him. And even though it's hard for them to believe, they don't need to deny my experience. They don't need to gaslight me because that was my experience. I think that my uncle was working out his spiritual debt, that he was trying to make amends in the areas where he really, and in the relationships that he really valued, the relationships with his children and stuff like that. But my father is not that same breed of man. He's not. And even though he saw his brother and witness, that demise, witness his death and witness cancer eating him up and stuff like that, there is nothing in my father that pulls at his heartstrings. There's no compassion there. There's no love there. There's no self-reflection or even critical thinking or accountability. There's nothing there. He's reprobate. He has a reprobate mind. And I know that my father will not be that type to work out his spiritual debt. Oh, he's indebted and he never really pay it off, but he should be trying to. He should be trying to fix. He should be trying to work, like really work in serving his community, um, serving everybody, serving. Letting go of all of the crap that he's holding on to, all the materialistic things, all the cars, all the houses, the churches, the school, all the things. He needs to let it go. Sell it all and and give it all away. And he still won't be paying off his debt. He won't even be putting a dent in it. But, you know, it's just one of those moments, on in reflection of my uncle's death, with me watching, listening to a little bit of that documentary. It was the Menendez brothers, you guys. I watched it a long time ago, so I really don't even remember the case, but I do remember those two brothers killed their parents. And and I think about, all of the kids who grew up with narcissistic parents, who grew up with abusive parents, and that confusion that you may have had of like, I just want this to stop. I just want it to stop. I just want things to be the way they should be. And my father would get up and preach every Sunday. Why can't we be what you preach about? Why can't you be the man that you preach about? Why can't we really be the family that you are portraying in front of everyone? Like, why not? Why do we have to keep faking it? Why can't we really be that? It's just reflections, thoughts. But I bet that there are more people who feel the way that I do than not. And that maybe this resonates with you. Maybe you've had those thoughts too at, some point. And I still feel like I said, I'm not above it. I'm not above it at all. And if the situation presents itself, meaning that my father approaches me, he becomes a threat to me, physical threat to me, and then I will behave accordingly. I will act accordingly. That's why he won't come around me. He knows better. And I'm glad he does. I don't want to, but I will. And you know what's sad, you guys? I know he feels the same way about me. Except it's not anything that I did to him that he feels that way. I feel that way because of the what he did to us. He feels that way because that's just who he is. That's the difference. That's the difference. All right, you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for listening to me. You guys, oh, okay. I don't know. Sometimes I be feeling like, people are gonna misunderstand me. It's gonna, they're gonna judge. They're gonna, but that's okay. That's okay. I know that this isn't um common, and sometimes it takes someone just kind of doing the uncommon thing to really, break the ice and help people to heal because it helps me heal just admitting this. Just admitting this. But it's in my book and it's in my audiobook. So you guys make sure that you get it. The link to the audiobook is right in the title of the video as well as in the description. So make sure that you guys grab my audiobook. Also, if you're not ready to get the audiobook or you don't want to, but you want to join the community, just go on the app and make sure that you just sign up. There is um, a free section of the app where you still get a lot of great things from me, a lot of good information. Plus, you get free episodes of the audiobook. They're already right there, ready for you. So as soon as you sign up, you can start listening. Um, but yeah, I want you guys to be a part of my community, a community of discerning people, people who come together to empower one another to have these conversations and really work towards like healing in a very positive way, not for the sake of, okay, hurry up and forgive, so you can stop talking about this. No, I'm going to talk about this for as long as I need to, as long as I want to, until I feel like I have gotten all the toxicity out. I'm not going to let the cancer eat me. I'm not gonna die because I'm keeping my father's secrets or because I'm holding on to pain and hurt that he should be carrying. This his responsibility, not mine. So he's gonna have to carry that weight because I'm letting it go. And I suggest you guys let it go too. But if you want a safe place, a safe environment to do that, then make sure that you join the app. Now, what you do need to know is that the app is still a work in progress, okay, you guys? My main goal was to launch the app with the audiobook, right? So to make the audiobook available on the app. So right now, that's the main thing that's on there. There's other things on there, but that's the main thing that's on there. But it's going to grow and it's going to progress. There'll be more things there. There's community chats there. We can all talk to each other, and we don't have to be on these public platforms where, we're susceptible to being attacked, to, flying monkeys, to people, carrying information back and forth and all of that stuff. It's a real chill, community that I'm growing. And I would love for you to be a part of it, if you feel called to be a part of it. And so thank you guys so much. Make sure that you go ahead and get on the app, okay? And I'm going to play you guys a little snippet on our way out. If you don't mind, like the video on your way out. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Bye-bye for now.
I'm a nationally certified counselor. However, I am not telling my story from a clinical perspective. Further, I am not trying to diagnose anyone discussed in this book. My clinical training has been a powerful tool in understanding my life as the daughter of a narcissistic pastor and working through the healing process. I tell my story as a daughter, a believer, and a victor. I tell my story as someone recovering from narcissistic abuse and learning to love herself. I don't have all the answers, but honestly, I'm not sure the answers are what's needed right now. Instead, I'll focus on putting it all on paper. I must warn you, this book contains transcriptions of my father's own words, offensive language, and recounts of abuse that some readers may find triggering. I encourage you to take breaks, practice calming breathing techniques, and continue reading as tolerated. Further, I encourage sufferers of abuse and neglect to contact law enforcement and seek help from medical and mental health professionals. So take a break. Take a breath. Take it in small chunks, but don't silence me. Hear my voice, feel my heart, and take a journey through my mind as I process this complex childhood trauma. Predictably, things will worsen before they get better. But my father's prayers for ill will to come to me and my family will not deter me. As the pastor's daughter, I offer a unique perspective, a vantage point different from others. I have witnessed pure evil, the inner workings of a man whose only God was himself and his money. I cannot move forward in my journey until I confront and expose the abuse, manipulation, and control that were making me sick. But where do I start? At the beginning, the root of the anger, the events and actions that cause my heart to break, my spirit to ache, and my soul to cry out. I pray my experiences enlighten and encourage all who read this book, and that God gives you the strength to do what is necessary to heal from narcissistic abuse. I believe that there are lessons in these challenging situations, that even negative things ultimately work out for our benefit. Just as I am doing the work to heal from the abuse I experienced, my father can too. This will anger him, but he too can find redemption from what I reveal within these pages. The choice is his, but I must expose this now so we can heal. As Dr. Ramani says, sometimes hurt people help people. So I invite you to take this journey with me, the journey of a truth teller. My name is Delores, and I am the daughter of a narcissistic pastor. That's my reality, and this is my story. The Pastor's Daughter, Provoked, available now on audio, including exclusive audio recordings. Listen now on the Kingdom Code app, thekingdomcode.passion.io.